Good morning, everyone. Thank you so very much for joining us on the Bridge 99 FM. Thank you very much for joining us on UnTengle. Richie B, you have yourself a wonderful day, my friend. And Audley, you also have yourself a wonderful day. Once again, thank you so very much for making it the bridge. Thanks for joining us on the frequencies. Thanks for joining us on the internet. And of course, thank you very much for your WhatsApp text. We're going to be representing that royally. Want to say a very special morning to Team UnTengle. As we face this new year, you know what we do? We say the year before, we not make a New Year's resolution. But then the year chock-packed with all kind of experiences where I say, we need to make a New Year's resolution. So as we think about resolutions, we always say, make sure you make realistic resolutions that you can actually honor. So many things happened in the year 2021 that need to untangle. And as it gets closer to the end of the year, there are some things that we definitely don't want to repeat. So remember now, all the things them in your life we need to unravel. And you have to start at the beginning, and the best place to start is at the top of the year. And be consistent. Be consistent with your resolutions. And again, remember, no unrealistic resolutions. Resolutions that you can actually keep and maintain. See? Welcome to Untangle on the Bridge. Maveric Webb, good afternoon.
What go on, Mama Elise?
Well, we're good, you good?
Yeah, Mama, good. It says an honor to actually having a discussion with you, though.
Oh, it's my pleasure.
As Jamaicans, would have said, like myself, I feel good for you to talk to you right now.
Nice, wonderful. All right, good. So there's a lot we need to find out about you before we even start the real interview. So tell me a little bit about you, Maverick, and the community you come from, your mission, your hobbies, that kind of thing. Quick, and then we're going to the rest of something.
All right. Well, I'm Maverick. I'm from Portmore. I grew up in Kingston 13. I am the founder or the co-founder of Poetry Block, which is responsible for Food for Thought, the Party Charity Experience, Belam, and Twist and Talk, which is an awesome experience. I'm also the co-founder of Fusion Models International, which you can see my partner right around here. So, my business partner Moses Fanel. That's another experience that we're in together. But that's just Maverick in a nutshell.
Okay, so it's quite a few different things, which tells me that you are a humanitarian and also a very creative being.
A humanitarian. Anything we want to take on a title,
Why?
I think I'm a selfish person because I think there's more joy in giving than receiving, and I do it because it makes me feel good.
That is very honest, and I love that honesty. And from here on, I can just be sure that you're going to be very frank and honest with me in this interview. Yeah, so you do it for yourself, my family. Yes, yes.
Yeah, it feels good.
Oh, you mean? Yes, man. When we tell people all the while, if you have a problem with giving, just remember, say it feel good. So if it's even for selfish reasons, give, man. It all feel good.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So your famous last words, I was reading your bio, and some of your famous last words was this, and I quote, it says, "My success comes from my failures." Now, are you still there with us, Maverick?
Yes, I'm definitely here listening to you.
Okay, all right. So a lot of people may have difficulty with a statement like that, especially people who going through a lot of failures themselves and, losing hope and that kind of thing. So my question to you is, explain it to us. How has your failures become your success? And I want you to feel without it bringing any trauma or reminding you of anything that is traumatic. Let us list them one by one. So we could start at high school. Continue.
We say without bringing anything traumatic. I don't know how I can do that, but all right, let's start with high school.
Yeah.
In high school, I did 8 subjects. I only passed 2, which is POB and accounts. I've never looked inside a POB book since. I haven't looked in an accounts book since high school, but because I failed English in high school, I find myself say, I do more reading now. I find myself doing a lot more reading. You know, maybe if I pass it, I just say, all right, I have English, so I'm gonna need to adapt in that anymore. You know, so because I failed English, I developed a passion for reading, and that passion allowed me to write two books which are out now, which is the art of poetry and SHIT, how to turn SHIT into sugar.
I'm
You know,
so happy you can spell.
as, as a result of failing English, you know. And you can hear the conversation as I was saying to Mr. Thorpe on an earlier phone call that we had. You can hear the conversation I really failed English, you
Yeah.
know, but that failure um, uh, created the opportunity for me to dive more than the English, delve more in English and learn a lot more. You know, that allowed me to get the necessary content. If you can write more than I have probably 5 books to publish, you know, and it's because I fail English. Maybe if I pass English, I probably wouldn't even be interested in the arts, you know.
I understand that.
So that is one example of how failing can actually create a situation where you can succeed from it.
You know something, Maverick? It is my experience that a lot of young people, when they were young people anyway, and young people now, have
Yeah.
issues passing English language. And it seems to me, having my own children having difficulties with English language, I always say to them, you're right, like, oh, you talk.
Yeah.
And sometimes that is the issue. Have you found that reading more and understanding English more actually helps you to communicate better in English, and hence have more it is more highly likely for you to pass English?
That probably is true. But I think it's deeper than that. I think I'm not supposed to be speaking English, you know. So it's a challenge for me as an African person to be wanting to adapt this language, to speak in this language, to talk to people in this language. Probably if it was some other language from where I'm from, I'd probably pass it with flying colors, you know.
May I beg to differ? Because there are a lot of people in Africa who speak more than two, three languages fluently. So the Africa thing, me don't know if it make that cut it. But anyway, make we move on though. Because look, we not have time to disagree with you. so all right, failure to attend university.
Mhm. Oh yeah. Majority of the persons in my family, even though we're from a poor family, majority of the persons them matriculate into university, you know. For me, I didn't get the opportunity to go to university. So I had to start my own business, you know, because I did work for persons, but I don't like the idea of just giving my time away like that. I think I can use my time and trust in my abilities, and those abilities will be able to provide for me, you know. So I started out with Food for Thought, which is a fashion and poetry experience, which wasn't fashion and poetry initially. It was just a fish fry where we had probably 10 of my friends, and I was doing some poetry. And I realized that from that failure, that environment wasn't a space for poetry. So we went to Altiman Court Hotel. While we're at an Altiman Court Hotel, we get maybe like 30 persons, you know, so it was an improvement from the 10, you know. And the owner of Red Bones Cafe, I think it was Mr. Williams, was there. I have my whole respect for that man, Mr. Williams, you know. Mr. Williams invited us to Red Bones Cafe. So while at Red Bones Cafe, me I said, no man, that place is kind of high class, so we have got to do something more. So that's something more that we do, we diffuse it with fashion, you know, just to keep on the same wavelength as the environment that we're in, you know, and realize that fashion worked well with the poetry. A lot of persons came for the fashion, but they stayed for the poetry, you know. I failed a few times there, you know. I learned I learned a lot of lessons through that experience, you know, and we move from well, one of the lessons I'm learning is that you can't put all your eggs in one basket, you know, because I was at Red Bones Cafe and we had this major show coming up, and they were making a transition from being just Red Bones Cafe into our hotel, you know, and my show our show was on at that time. So I learned that you can't put egg in a one basket. So I reached out to Eden Gardens, and that was a beautiful experience. There's a whole heap of lessons I learned there that you'd have to definitely get your hands on in our book, in my book called How to Turn SHIT to Sugar, how to turn a bad situation into something that will benefit you.
All
So
right.
mhm,
Okay. So we're going to talk about you, the author.
yeah.
I'm going to ask you to probably do one of your poems. So we're going to talk about you, the poet, and
Mhm,
so let's start there.
mhm.
And we're going to talk about the fashion. So you said, that people came for the fashion and stayed for the poetry. And I really respect that because I understand. And it is just endorsing what you said about not putting your eggs in one basket because that's another, clear way. Let us talk about you, the author. Do you find that writing, particularly your books, but just writing generally, helps to free your soul? Because in reading your bio, I realized that there are quite a few experiences that you went through that, you just wrote them down. How did it help in terms of freeing up, some of the anxiety that perhaps you were feeling?
I always say this to persons that I'm not a writer. It was just for me it was therapy. It was just my way of emptying myself,
Yeah.
getting rid of all that toxic experience, emotions, thoughts, and just putting them down on paper, in order for feel like light and feel whole or feel balanced after. So for me, a lot of persons call me an author. I really don't see myself as an author. I just found it was just my outlet how to share what's going on inside of myself that we couldn't really have a conversation with people with. So the irony behind it is that once I wrote the first book and I shared my thoughts that I thought I was the only one having, a lot of persons started to come to me saying that, hey, we went through this, we had a similar experience. It started a lot of conversations, So all I had to do was just be honest and vulnerable and just talk my truth, and people resonate with people. So people call me an author, but I don't think I'm an author. Honestly, I don't think I can be anything. I mean, you call me infinite knowledge having a human experience, but I don't think I'm an author.
I love how you express yourself, though, and I clearly get what you're saying. Because for those who are listening who think you have to be an author to write, here is your encouragement right away. Because you wrote because you have the ability to write, but as you say, it was more therapeutic. The poetry can also be therapeutic. Let's talk about that,
Okay. Hey, I'd like to share a poem with you.
please.
I will. What I love about this poem is that while in high school, we did bleach out my face, we did cream and dye out my ears, so I never really loved myself at that time. And I did this poem when I started to realize that, hey, Maverick, you're beautiful, nothing wrong with your hair, nothing wrong with your skin complexion. And this poem is called The Perception of Beauty. Um, she's simply beautiful. She reminds me of a nursery rhyme. She sells seashells by the seashore, but I'm sure that none is as fine as her ebony skin on the coastline. Just a little touch from the sunshine on her pores grips her skin top and her magnificent tops into something the seas has never seen before. The ocean waved and smiled at her amazement and asked the moonlight to give him her silhouette to explore. The moon winked in agreement and said he'll grant the ocean's request shortly after her image surfaced. Black, exquisite silhouette on the ocean surface for the seas to reflect. Horizon, nature yearns to explore. Her head crowned with a tiara of reef, birthright from the origin of creation, the natural selection, nature's Miss Universe. Saw the world change because of an envious, jealous, and pale breeze. She felt against her skin, she felt against her melanin. With each breath it breathed from its throat came propaganda, propaganda that she was the inverse. She was uncrowned. The gust of wind put her down. It made her uncomfortable in her own skin. It silenced the memories of the days when the ocean would wear its best blue suit in pursuit of her naked beauty, no shells. It covered her ears. She could no longer hear the sounds of heaven's heart when it would sing her praises, or when it fell like lightning and made a thunderous noise, waking up the tides. Not one wave was asleep, splashing, dashing at her feet, sand grains together to touch her feet. It was only natural for nature to fall in love with her beauty that even attracted gravity. Queen Nefertiti, from along the river Nile, in her bloodstream flows black splendor. But a certain element didn't want her to remember that she's the beauty that came before the seas. But she'll one day see the thread that went through the needle eye and gave birth to the material from which she was conceived. And that's when she'll tell you what the sun, the moon, the earth, and the ocean sees. Sila.
Wow, thank you so very much for sharing. And although you're looking at the beauty of a woman, I know that it helped you to understand the beauty of yourself. And that happens, that's a process that happens from within. Let me ask you this though, Maverick, as you read that poem. Do you consider yourself to be a poet?
A poet? I like being called a poet.
I like that. Yes, I understand that. All right. And my next question would be about your modeling. If this is as we're wrapping up. Have you found that now that you have found yourself and what we see is what we get, do you find that it actually helps you in the fashion industry? Because the fashion industry, with my knowledge, is looking for something real within that model and not something fake. Have you found that being real, looking real, actually enhances your ability to showcase clothes?
Well, I mean, Fusion International, what we are all about is confidence. And I think to put what you're saying in a nutshell, when you find yourself, you're confident, and yes, it does. And once a model is confident, I mean, you can see it in how she present herself and present the designers wear.
Absolutely. We've run out of time, but I'm tempted to look at the clothes you have hanging up behind you, and I know that you're having fun being called a poet. Are you having as much fun being called a model?
I'm actually the servant of the agency, not necessarily a model.
Okay, I got you. I got you. Continue to have fun though, Maverick, because what I'm feeling from you is an individual who is just having fun unfolding, realizing who you are, and having a wonderful time doing so. And the only way that this can happen is if you go inside and you're really encouraging others to do just that. So keep on doing that, man.
And thank you. And persons, I would appreciate if you take the time also go by Nutsport Pharmacy or Bookophilia and get yourself a copy of The Art of Poetry. Or you can go on Amazon, get yourself a copy of The Art of Poetry and How to Turn SHIT to Sugar. The 13 steps of alchemy. So thank you, Mama Elise. I really appreciate your time. Mr. Tharp, appreciate you. Thank you. And Moses Fanel, I have to shout out to Moses Fanel, I'm my partner in the fashion, the modeling agency. So I have to shout out to Moses Fanel, Everett Smith, Wise Word. I have to shout out to Amazon the Great, all of the collective, the poetry collective. Me appreciate it, So give thanks, Mama Elise. Appreciate it, yeah.
Most welcome, and continue to just do Maverick.
Thank you.
All right. Wonderful. I just love that. And, it's such an inspiration to others. You heard him say who he was before and who he is now and how writing has helped to, as he said, empty himself of some of the toxicity that's inside. And we advise others to do just that. See if you can write, not be an author, but just write. And it certainly helps. And read and recite poetry. And it's a wonderful thing to be called a poet. I agree with that 100%, and continue to just be beautiful. Thank you very much. We want to remind our listeners that we are inside of Kwanzaa. right? So today is Ujima. And for those who want to know a little bit more about Kwanzaa, here is some information about Kwanzaa, which you should find very interesting. Kwanzaa is a 7-day festival that celebrates African and African American culture and history. The 7 days and candles in Kwanzaa represent the 7 principles of Kwanzaa, and that would be Ngoza, Umoja, or unity of the family, the community, nation, and race. So we'll outline all 7 principles at a later date. Each day, we're going to remind you of what that principle is, and we will continue until Kwanzaa ends. Kwanzaa actually starts on the 26th of December every year. Good afternoon, my brother. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful. How is everything with you?
Very well. How was your Christmas?
My Christmas was spectacular, to say the least. I had a lot of fun. You know, family and friends did a few festivities, but I'm here. I'm recuperating and, you know, feeling good about everything. Looking forward to 2022.
Wonderful. When I was your age, I would have did so too. But trust me, you know, I had a wonderful time too. You know what I did?
What was that?
Nyam. If it's that I have to recuperate from, yes. Trust me. Why?
Ain't nothing wrong with that. Nothing is wrong with that.
Me say, you see, when you get to my age, Beauregard, here where the nicest thing you can go do now. First of all, Christmas, it rained all day on Saturday. That is Saturday, right?
Wow, yes.
And normally when I see that, I'll be like, oh, but now I'm like, oh. So
you don't have to worry yourself.
oh my goodness.
Kill up yourself for nothing.
But nothing. My dear sir, I just make sure say I cook. And when I say I cook, I mean I cook, you know, man. And then, and trust me, it was wonderful. And I eat, you know.
I could just imagine. There's nothing like some good Jamaican cooking.
Oh my goodness. And you know what fun of that Trinity is? Sleep, you know. Trust me.
Them call it righties.
Look here. Well, fortunately, the other day, you know, I could have did with the itis, the right hand, Papa. Yes, I mean, coming out, nothing else for do.
Right.
So, trust me, I'm telling you, my times are changing. And then when I said to my other friends now, who you don't know is in not your age group, put it that way, and I say, what would you do? See, I'm Trinity. Yeah, man.
Yeah, man. That was a good thing. I did the same, you know, eat some food and, you know, just spend some time watching TV. I watched some sports over the Christmas because, you know, a lot of sport games come on. Basketball, the big games, all the top stars are playing on Christmas Day. So, you know, I sat down and watched some of those games. And other than that, I went out and, you know, supported some friends and, you know, had a good time. And that was it.
So how was your party that you had?
It was okay. It was good. I gave thanks to everybody who came out and showed the love and support, you know. It's something that I've been doing for years. So, you know, some people came out and really showed me some love.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
True indeed.
Okay, so what else is happening on your side?
Well, speaking of the Christmas, you know, there was some Christmas travel chaos sparked by the COVID. Yesterday, 760 flights were cancelled all across the U.S., citing shortages of staff caused by, you know, delays and other things that caused the cancellations. No staff, and the lack of staff caused the delays, and then the delays led to cancellation. So on this side, a lot of people are still trying to get home. I'm not sure if all those people got on flights yet. 760 flights is a lot of flights to, you know, reaccommodate people and to, you know, shift them around and to make sure that they get back in to where their destination, other than the fact that, you know, there are other people also who were scheduled for flights as well. So I'm not sure if everyone got back home in time or if everyone is home yet.
I really hope they have. You know, it's not an easy time to fly at all. It's difficult on a normal day.
Right.
Much as on Christmas with the COVID problems. Oh, it's a nightmare.
Yes, it is. And also, you know, we see that 2 new COVID-19 vaccine mandates are going into effect into New York this week. Yesterday, one of them was the private sector mandate, which requires that private sector workers were to submit proof of at least 1 COVID-19 vaccine dose by yesterday, the 27th. And there's another mandate that requires people ages 12 and up to show proof of 2 COVID-19 vaccine doses to dine indoors or to enter gyms and indoor entertainment venues. Also yesterday that went into effect, unless they receive the Johnson & Johnson vaccine, which is the 2-shot vaccine.
Yeah.
The single shot, I should say.
I hear you. You know,
Yes.
but there are so many people who have been vaccinated
Mm-hmm.
and they fully vaccinated, and they're having serious illnesses and coming down with COVID nonetheless.
It's
I'm
crazy.
kind of wondering what's the point. I really genuinely want to know what's the point.
It's very confusing right now for a lot of people. A lot of people are frustrated. You know, people are now starting to ask then why, if they haven't are not already gotten vaccine, they're saying then if all these people who got vaccinated are, you know, facing these issues concerning the new variant Omicron, then, you know, I don't see why I should go get vaccinated and also face these issues. But, you know, I guess vaccination is what they're pushing. And, you know, a lot of people still out there have not been vaccinated. Even the new mayor that's coming in is saying that in January 1st, when he comes in, he's going to reevaluate the mandate that the outgoing mayor has put on the workforce. So he's not fully on board with what the Mayor de Blasio is doing right now. So when he comes in on the 1st, he's going to reevaluate that mandate.
I'm really happy to hear that, because if you're still catching COVID, if you're still getting COVID, it means you can still pass it on. So we really need to know what is the point of mandatory vaccinations. I can understand if you're encouraging people to take it, but to say you have to do it when you can still get the COVID-19, it beats me.
I know. I mean, at first, when you know, people weren't truly informed and weren't looking into things at first, you know, they were going along with what they were being told. And now that they're seeing different outcomes, and, you know, people are looking at the fact that if you're vaccinated, then this can still happen. You know, it's giving people second thoughts as to what they should do. And people are still waiting to try to figure out what is the best move for them.
Absolutely. Speaking of COVID-19, dancehall icon Beanie Man has reportedly he was detained by the national security in Ghana for allegedly flouting COVID-19 protocols.
Wow.
And, you know, rumor has it that he's fully vaccinated, but this part is not a rumor. It says that the reports in the Ghanaian media are that the DJ tested positive for COVID-19 on arrival in Ghana last week and placed in quarantine. And, you know what is, I'm thinking of what is going to be an issue. It is going to be difficult to convince somebody who has been fully vaccinated and traveling that them have COVID-19.
I never looked at that one.
You understand?
Yes, I understand what you're saying. Yeah, because a lot of people are gonna say, "Well, I've been vaccinated, so how did I get this?" You know.
Right.
Yeah.
And perhaps not believe the results of the COVID test and float it. You know, I think it is very complicated. Anyway, let us put it this way. Whoever you are, if you have indeed been tested positive for COVID-19, we have to be responsible, Beauregard.
Yes.
We just
yes.
have to be.
Yes.
And if we're not, we're making it difficult for others in the future.
True. True indeed.
Because
You know, in the case of Beanie Man, I'm saying, you know, maybe he must say to himself, well, I fly all this way to Africa and I'm supposed to dip on the stage and then have a quarantine and can't do that right now. I don't know.
you know, we kind of work out what him thinking.
Yeah.
But is it responsible?
Yeah.
Because if he indeed has been tested for COVID-19, and I saw clips of the show, I mean, trust me, he was all over that stage.
But don't they both sides? I mean, doesn't he also have a justifiable argument in saying that he's fully vaccinated?
You see, that's the point we're making, Beauregard.
it's the
because
confusion, yeah.
that's the confusion. That's what I was saying a while ago. It's going to be difficult to convince someone who
Yeah.
has been fully vaccinated that them test positive for COVID-19.
Right.
And if it is difficult to convince them of that, then them going to float the rules of whichever country tell them so them have COVID-19.
Right.
You know, so it is very confusing, but at the top of the day, you just have to just respect the people them test and respect the people them country.
True indeed. And even in the midst of all of this, what shocked me was the fact that the CDC came out and said they're lowering the quarantine time, even though they're saying that the Omicron is a much more dangerous variant. They're saying that for people who catch a COVID now and the Omicron, their quarantine time is about 5 days. So they're bringing down the quarantine time and they're saying that the disease is getting more dangerous. So it's very confusing.
Very confusing. And, them is forcing me to say what me never want to say last week, but make them go on, I'm going to say it. And not today. Not today. Not today. It's just because they're from Jamaica here, your heart do an extra beat, but not today. Not today. So we have an interview coming up in a few, and we've been interviewing new artists, and
Yes.
we're going to be interviewing this young man. So we catch up after the interview, all right?
I'll be listening, no problem.
All right, cool. So thank you very much, Beauregard. I want to say a very special good afternoon to our Irie Jam family. Thank you very much for making it the Bridge 99 FM. And we have live online Jimmy D. Good afternoon, Jimmy D. Can I hear him? Hello?
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. How are
I had to put the phone on mute.
okay.
Yeah.
So, welcome to UnTengle on the Bridge 99 FM. How are you?
I am well, Thank God.
Give
How about
thanks.
yourself?
Give thanks. All right, we have a little time. What we're going to do, we're going to have you introduce yourself, and then we're going to take a quick commercial break, and then we're going to come back to the interview, right? So, I read your story and heard your song. So, in order for us to follow your journey, let us begin at the very top. What's your nationality? And meaning, what's your country of origin?
Jamaica,
You said Jamaica,
Jamaica. Yeah, man.
like,
Jamaica.
duh. Like, okay, so you actually migrated to the States.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah. My mother first, when I was like 10 years old, and then me after,
Okay.
2 years after.
Okay, so your family migrated to the States.
Yes, ma'am.
And what part of the States, if you don't mind me asking, are you now?
Right now I'm in Texas.
All right.
I'm working in Texas. I've been in Texas for the last 4 months now.
Okay, all
Doing
right.
some COVID stuff.
Look here, your story is so. I mean, we have to share this story, but we're going to take a break, and then now that we know that you're Jamaican, because to be honest with you, I didn't really want to know. But now that we know that your nationality, we're going to take a break, and then we're going to find out more about your love affair with the music and your other occupation. So we're going to take a break. We soon come, right? We're going to do it in order. So we're going to play a song down in the last part of the interview, and people is going to tell me if them like it or them don't like it. Personally, I like it. No, but you know the thing, Jimmy D. So we're going to take a break. We soon come, all right? We have live online Jimmy D, an upcoming Sing J from out of the United States, born and raised for a while in Jamaica and migrated to the States. So Jimmy D, I know you have a love affair with music. Is there any other occupation or career that you have to go alongside with the music? Hello?
Yeah.
Yeah. You able to hear me?
Yeah, go ahead. I'm hearing you now.
Yeah. Yeah, right now I'm a paramedic. I've been a paramedic for about 20 years now. Started off in New York City, and then Connecticut, and then Georgia, and now I'm in Texas.
Okay.
So,
That's interesting, because when we get to this COVID story, I'm going to have to ask you if they're related. But before we get there, take us back to early last year while looking forward to going on tour. Take us to the details of what happened last year, what you were looking forward to, your album, that kind of thing.
So I'll go back a little further before that. So 2019, the summer of 2019, my uncle, who was Dan Carlos, gave me a call. He was going on tour with Slightly Stupid, about 135 shows across the U.S. So he decided that he wanted to do a Dan Carlos and Family album, which would be me and a couple of his sons,
Mm-hmm.
And so we started preparing for that. I got sick roughly around December 2019, like real sick. And I was wondering, what kind of, illness is this? I never felt like this before, really bad. And it go off into January. And, but that was just before anybody know anything about this COVID-19 stuff. Because it was me and a couple of people even went to the doctor and they never even know
what it was. So,
So this was before
they were
March.
prescribing. Yes, this was before March.
Okay.
So they were prescribing antibiotics, which really don't work, and viruses and stuff like that. But it wasn't really a lot of cases, so people just took it thinking it was the flu or something. So that was the first time.
Okay, before we get to the second time, though, because there's a second time for those listening, before we get there, the tour that you had planned with your uncle Don Carlos and the reggae band was postponed because of the same COVID-19 issues.
Yes, ma'am, because that was for summer of 2020.
Okay. All right. So
Yeah.
it was postponed. So it was while you were waiting to find out what is happening with the tour that you contracted your first bout of COVID-19.
Yes.
Does that have anything to do, or do you think it had anything to do with the job that you do outside of music?
You know what? I'm not sure, but possibly, yeah, there's a strong possibility.
Right. I
I
thought.
know.
Go ahead.
Yeah. No, I'll let you finish.
Okay. It just struck me that it just might be that, because for those listening, you heard Jimmy D say that he's a paramedic outside of the music. All right. So that's the first time. And the first time was relatively easy to overcome, right?
It took me about a month.
Oh, that's not
month
easy.
and a half,
Wow. That's not easy at all.
Yeah. Yeah,
But you did overcome the first time.
Yeah, I did overcome. Me and a couple of my kids. My wife at the time, she was sick too. And we're all better because we didn't know about this COVID thing either. But we were like, what was that? And I remember at work, I was riding with a guy that worked at the CDC, and I was asking him. I said, what's going on? Because a couple of my coworkers were sick too, and I asked him what's going on, and he's just like, it's just a really bad cold. That was like the end of January to February. He was like, that, it's just a really bad cold. And then after that, everybody started hearing about this illness out of Wuhan and stuff. And I caught it again, COVID, around June. That same year, but this time it was mild. Nothing too bad.
So that's what, January, February, March, April, May, June. That's 5 months after.
Yes.
Okay.
5 months. Yeah. That time it wasn't, it didn't do too much to me. But October of that year, the same year coming up, because in September, I tore my right rotator cuff, my shoulder. So I could no longer be on the ambulance to them. Them just put me upstairs, this dispatch center. And I'm there, only for people now really wear masks because now this COVID thing is not really new no more. So a lot of people kind of relax and stuff, I wind up catching COVID again for the third time.
For the third time? Wow.
And the third time I catch it, it almost took my life.
Let's talk about that.
Yeah, I mean, at first I thought I had an ear infection, which is what I'm seeing while I'm here in Texas with vaccinated people, thinking that they had, sinus infection, ear infection, when it's actually COVID. One person told me that they had knee pain and, minor cough and stuff. They went in and, they tested positive for COVID. But I see that a lot with people that are vaccinated. They'll have weird symptoms that wind up to be COVID.
So, Jimmy, if you don't mind me asking, when you got the third dose of COVID, were you vaccinated then?
No, that's before the vaccine
came out.
Yeah, that's before the vaccine. So that's 2020, October 2020. Yeah, I was in the hospital, thank God I wasn't intubated, but, I was close to it. I was close to it, yeah, because, us men, and I get 2 doses because I'm also a Jamaican, we believe in natural remedies, And people say if you believe in yourself, like, oh, grandma believe in the bush tea. nothing can stop you.
Mm-mm.
But the merengue and all them stuff, taking all them stuff. And one time I contract the virus, I was like, man, them things that don't even work. They're not working. I couldn't talk. And one of the things that was most depressing for me is the idea that I wouldn't be able to sing again.
Yes.
You know,
Because
so
your
it's
sinuses were blocked up.
sinus. I'm coughing, real bad. I couldn't even stand up for 2 seconds
Oh my
because as soon as
goodness.
I stand up, I feel like, the upper half of my body is collapsing into the lower part of my body. Like I just need somebody to tie a rope on me to hold me up
Oh
so I could
God.
breathe, so I could get my diaphragm, open up so I could breathe.
Mhm. So what do you
Yeah.
think did it for you in terms of your recovery? I know it was slow, but how do you see that recovery?
Uh, it took me a while, but to get back where I could definitely get out, it took me about 2 months.
Ooh.
The whole brain fog, like for me to really articulate or talk, my eyes would go up in my head like I'm searching for words. I couldn't
Mm.
find the words. My memory was real spotty and stuff, and
Mm-mm.
my breathing was still kind of, labored and stuff. But
Wow.
the mercy I got,
Yeah,
the
man.
mercy I got, yeah.
Yeah, it's grandma that again, Granny that again.
Yeah, grandma and my mom. My grandma passed away in 2012 from
Mm-hmm.
cancer. My mom 2016, and I lost my aunt last year, May.
COVID?
No, cancer.
Wow. So,
Yeah, yeah.
so Jimmy, as I listen to you talk about your experience of getting COVID 3 times, has it taught you to build up your immunity?
Oh yeah, oh yeah. I take all kind of vitamins. I make sure I get a lot of exercise. And I'm still cautious. You know,
Yeah.
I'm still cautious, but it's a virus. So until our bodies actually get used to it, you know, these are the things that's gonna happen.
That's true. And of course, if like a cold, this is my opinion, my layman or laywoman opinion. If you're catching a cold too often, you have to check out your immunity.
Mm-hmm.
And COVID is similar. It could teach you or tell you something about your immune system that you really need to strengthen it.
Oh yeah, I was always susceptible to colds, because I remember
Okay.
having a bad cold at the age of 5, and grandma again, back then with the bitter orange.
Mm-hmm. Civil
Yeah,
orange.
that's what. Yeah, the shriveled bitter orange. That's what she used,
Mm-hmm.
because I was spending a year with her up in St. Mary, and that's what she used.
Wow, very interesting experience. But then you had the COVID and you learned about your body a little bit more, and it actually inspired a song. So take us through the final bout of COVID and the new song.
Actually, Defiance was actually inspired by after my mom passed away.
Okay,
COVID though inspired me to push that song even more
I got you.
because tomorrow is not promised, and I was just listening to the song again, and I was like, you know what, this song needs to be pushed
Mm-hmm.
even more because
Mm-hmm.
of what the words of the song is saying.
Yes.
So the song really inspired me, even though I was the one that wrote it. The
Yes.
song, when I listen to it, it's a reminder to keep pushing.
That's interesting what you said. You said the song actually inspired you, although you were the one who wrote it. And it tells us how careful we have to be about what we send out in the universe because it can come right back to us in a good way or a not so good way.
Oh yes, oh yes.
Fortunately, this was a good way.
I'm always reminded of that. I'm a tread lightly kind of person, and grandma grew up in the church, so I should say right now I'm a spiritual person.
Yes,
You know.
beautiful. It's interesting how out of some of the most negative experiences can come some of the most positive outcomes. And it just seems that way, although it wasn't your COVID experience, but it was still a not pleasant experience that made you write this song. So who produced this song?
I produced the song.
Oh, really? So
I kind of do, yeah. I kind of do everything, you know.
okay. All right. So our listeners are already telling us what they feel. Me now tell you yet. No. Me not tell you what they feel yet. I'ma keep you in suspense, Jimmy D.
Oh God. Oh God.
No, don't worry too much. It's good. But anyway, so you had to postpone the tour. Are there any plans in the future to release that album that you had planned to tour?
Yeah, we're currently still working on the album. I know I have about 2 songs ready for it because I was planning on doing about 8, and then we'll pick like 4 from the 8.
Okay.
So
All
I
right.
know my part is ready. The rest of the soldiers, them, they're working too.
Okay. Interesting band though, because I mean, although you're an upcoming artist, you really have some strong links in the fraternity. I mean, Slightly Stupid is not stupid, so they're a
No,
popular band in California. So
yeah.
tell us a little bit about your relationship with your uncle though. Is he the kind of person who will tell you straight up, say, Jimmy, nah?
I never heard that from him yet. but
What?
but he's very tactful though. The way I'm do things. If you see him like excited, overly excited, then yeah.
Okay,
But
you're
if he's
good.
like, yeah. If he's like, yeah, then you're like, yeah, man, we need to go back to the drawing board.
Right. Well,
Yeah,
that's the best thing that anyone can do for you. The best thing that anyone can do for you is to be honest. Because if I did
yeah.
not like the song, I would get a chance to say to you, Jimmy, I don't particularly like it, but this is why I don't like it. So we could take it from there instead of not liking it and saying, yeah, man, I hit man, your boss. That don't really help anyone. But can I just say that you are very fortunate to have strong roots within your space to support your career. A lot of people don't have that. Last week we were talking about the same thing. A young man was saying, how confident he is with absolutely no roots, no links, and one of the reasons that I am going to say that you have a bright future is because you have strong links. You have the aptitude and you have strong links.
I appreciate that. I'm always open for constructive criticism.
Right.
Some criticism is just criticism, but the constructive one is the one that helps build it,
Absolutely.
which is not like that, and we out here, it's me personally, I listen to you and I know that you're very, very, very much respected, so anything you say, I must say, no.
That's how I
Right?
feel. Yeah, anything I said, that's
All
how
right.
I feel. And as
Yes,
like I
ma'am.
said before, I listened to the song and I said to Rolla, yes. Because when I'm looking for someone who is going to come into the industry, I am going to mark very hard. I am going to tell you, don't leave your 9 to 5, even if you're good. No, even if you're good, can I say, Jimmy, even
Yes.
if you're good, don't leave that 9 to 5 because the music can be very expensive a venture. But there is confidence that I hear. Speaking to you here now, I realize also that you have a nice, warm personality because that have nothing to do with it to you, no friend.
I appreciate it. I try to be humble.
Yes, I feel it and I see it as genuine. So may we use the opportunity here on Untangle on the Bridge 99 FM to tell you to keep on doing what you're doing. Delve even deeper in the music. It is my opinion that you have a bright future.
A whole heart of love.
All right?
A whole heart of love.
Nice talking to you. And remember now, keep that immune system up because when you go up on tour, when you eventually go
Oh,
up on,
man.
oh man, you understand?
Yeah, man, I know it, man.
You're going to be
I know
rubbing
it.
shoulders with all kinds of people.
Hmm.
So your immunity has to be up.
Yeah.
Wonderful
I
talking
respect.
to you.
Thank you.
All
I
right.
respect.
And compliments of the season, and have yourself a, what them usually say, prosperous New Year.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah.
And may
You
all
do
your,
the same too.
thank you, my dear, and may all your dreams and prayers come true for 2022.
All right.
All right, beautiful. So that was a lovely interview. Very interesting backstory from this young man. So we're talking to Jimmy D, and we heard his story, and we realized that COVID is no joke. And apart from everything else, you can actually catch it once, twice, and 3 times. So we have to be very, very careful. But out of all of that, and out of the experience with his mom and other family members, came a good song. So, Beauregard, you are you are you there still? You there still? Hello, Beauregard.
Yes.
All right. So we just get an update on the Beanie Man story.
Okay.
It says, to my fans who are genuinely reaching out, I have no COVID. Never caught COVID before, tested negative for COVID, been traveling for the past 6 months COVID free, fully vaccinated. I guess someone wants me to have COVID. Weird. And then input the emoji that suggests weird. And then we have some letters and receipts. It's just, Beauregard, I can tell you something, you see. It is even more confusing because Beanie Man has actually posted a notification of COVID-19 posted a notification from COVID-19 lab test results. I don't see the date because the date will make a big difference as to what happened actually, but it says the Ghana Health Service wishes to inform you that your recent COVID-19 laboratories test done on the date blackout on 2021 that blackout was negative. So it would have been nice if the date was not blocked out. Because
Right.
if the date was not blocked out, then we could make a more informed comment.
And he didn't say anything about whether or not he was actually detained.
Whether the detention is real. That came from the media
Okay.
sources in Ghana. But it goes you see it goes on again, and you heard a lot of it is blocked out, and I don't like that part there. We want transparency, know.
Right,
So
right.
the blackout part make it hard for we to actually talk about it, you
True.
know. But it seems as though what the DJ is saying is that him never have COVID. Basically, that's what he's saying, you know.
Yeah.
And you see the confusion again, Beauregard. You see one of the first things he said, he is fully vaccinated.
Exactly. And that's where a lot of the problem is going to stem from, with a lot of people who, get those results as to saying that they are positive and that they have COVID when they're fully vaccinated.
Exactly. And that's where all the confusion is going to bungle up right there, sir. Because of the misunderstanding. Because it's a misunderstanding of sorts, Because we have been told it has not been promoted. Because taking the vaccine is what is being promoted. But what is not being promoted is that you can take the vaccine and you still have COVID.
True indeed.
And you still get COVID. So
Especially for those people who, need the results for urgent reasons.
Exactly. So, it's just one little confusion, yes, so we really hope sorts itself out in due time.
True indeed.
Yeah, man. So that's that.
Yeah.
So,
I must say I enjoyed the interview as well. And the song that I heard, I would really like for Vaughn to get that song, and if him can email it to me,
you hear that, Vaughn?
I would appreciate it.
Vaughn, you listening? Beauregard says he would love if you could get if you could send him a copy of Jimmy D's song.
Yes.
Yes, so he has it. Well, you don't want any bigger forward than that. Just a big forward that for Jimmy D. You see me say? Yeah, man.
Yeah, man.
You know what I love with you, Beauregard? You see, you're not going to say, nah, I don't like that song, but your silence speak volumes, Trust me. No, baby. Yes.
Yeah, I like that one.
Okay. So we will just remember that. Beauregard's silence speaks volumes. Okay. I like that because, we can't put ourselves out on a limb like that all the time. Yes, I got it. So that's that. I love that. We have one other comment, and let me see if it says, Elise Ralston says he loves Jimmy D's song. Not because he's a good friend of his, or not because he's a good friend of his uncle, but because it is nice. I love that because, you know, yeah, let me tell you something, man. You're not doing anybody any favor when you like things because of some condition. It really has to be because of excellence and nothing else. So, yeah, man, we're good like that.
And then just the overall truth, you know, just to let them know if they need to do some more work and, you know, go back into the studio and forward again. You know, let them know.
Exactly. Because one thing I do, you know, Beauregard, if someone gives me a song and I'm not going to play it, I always tell them why. It is just it's the right thing to do.
Right.
You have to let them know why, that they can work on whatever it is.
And it's not hate, it's you know, constructive criticism. Sometimes a lot of people overlook that as, you know, people just give me a fight and all of them things. That's not the case all the time.
No.
You know, sometimes people are truly giving you constructive criticism. They might say, do that way or do it that way. I don't like how that sounds, or that might not be appropriate. You know, sometimes you can really and truly look into it. As in, I tell a lot of artists sometimes, you know, why do a song where, you know, you're putting a word in the song, and then when you say you're going to do a clean version, you still can tell that word is the word that you edited.
Yes.
You know, I really don't like songs like that.
I agree.
I really like for people to expand their vocabulary and, you know, dig deep and be creative.
Well said. Because the version that you did originally have, that word.
It's the same one.
Yeah, man. And that one, they rhyme with the other word, you know. The one where you take out the one rhyme. You see? So, yeah, man, it goes off with you. So, we really have that responsibility, Beauregard, as ones who, and you know, something that young people need to understand. Guidance is something that you're always going to appreciate. No matter who you are, no matter how old you are. One of the things I love with my friends is that if I ask them their opinion, I am going to get it. And I so honor them for that.
That's what friendships are about.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, we're going to catch up again on Thursday, most high willing.
Yes, definitely.
Always good to talk to you.
Same to you, Mama Kelly. Take care and have a wonderful day. Jamaica, be safe and be careful.
All right.
One love.
Take care.
All right.
Hi, this is Bojo Banton. You're tuned to Sister Elise Kelly on Bridge 99 FM.
Once again, we want to bless up Beauregard and the Irie Jam listeners and viewers. Thanks again to our guests. We had a wonderful conversation with Maveric Webb, and we spoke about his writing. He doesn't want to be called an author, but he wants to be called a poet. So we had a lovely time talking to Maveric Webb. We also had a good conversation with Jimmy D, very good conversation, and we're looking forward to hearing more from Jimmy D. Want to say thank you very much to the UnTengle team, Richard Rainford, Master Control Operator, and at the Master Control right here now is Kevin. Bless up yourself, Kevin, and Romain, wherever Romain is, Romain Virgo, Romain Simpson, Vision Mixer, and of course our producer Vaughn Thorpe. Vaughn, please remember Beauregard's song. He wants a copy of that song, so I'm sure that you will remember, and if by chance you forget, I am here to remind you. So a big thank you to our listeners. You know, this could not be done without you, so just bless upon yourself and thank you so very much for listening.